The NFL is saying he's open to practice, he's open to play. He's eligible on your roster. What do you do if you're the Texans? The Texans, the NFL, for the most part, have been silent on this issue because there's been no legal recourse from the civil suits, and there won't be because Deshaun Watson maintains his innocence. Innocent until proven guilty, and I'm totally fine with that too. But because he's maintaining pure innocence on this, he's not going to settle out of court with any of these suits, which means this continues through the season and into the offseason when these cases will actually be heard. The NFL said yesterday, officially, after Watson had reported to camp on Sunday, which I don't think the Texans expected him to do, he's reporting to avoid the $50,000 fine per day, which is mandatory, which the Texans can't tell Watson, hey, don't show up, we're not going to fine you. In the new CBA, it is a mandatory $50,000 fine that cannot be deferred in future payments if they show up or just wiped clean. It's a mandatory fine, so Watson's there so he doesn't get fined. The NFL says no restrictions on Deshaun Watson at Texans camp, which means he's practicing. And he's on the practice field today, serving as one of the quarterbacks for David Culley's team, even though he's not a part of the team. Mentally, physically, checked out. Reports are behind closed doors as he reports to camp on Sunday. He's walking the halls, making it known he doesn't want to be there, that he's not there to play for the Houston Texans. He's there to report to force their hand to get traded. The question is, based on the legal situation that's going on, the non-response from the NFL to this point, what teams are going to step up and trade for a player who could eventually go on the commissioner's exempt list, which is great, except for one thing, that's paid leave. So if he's on the commissioner's exempt list, he will be paid by whichever team decides to trade for him or by the Houston Texans, who currently owes him a $10 million salary in guarantees for 2021/22. So what do you do if you're the Houston Texans? Your star quarterback has shown up. He is your franchise quarterback that you have invested a 4-year, $157 million contract extension on last September, not even 12 months ago. He's openly said he wants to be traded. There are 22 civil lawsuits that are still yet to be settled, that will not be settled anytime soon. And the NFL is saying he's open to practice, he's open to play. He's eligible on your roster. What do you do if you're the Texans? I'm sure they would love to say, hey, you're excused, go home. But again, if they do that, they're still owing him the money that they've already committed to him for 2021. It's quite the dilemma that they have to face, because it's also a simple message to the team. And I thought Brian Wilson of the Houston Chronicle, Chad, said it well. Deshaun Watson is still using the Texans after quitting on them. And he goes on to write that when you compare what the Texans have said and with the messaging, that the only way the Houston Texans have success with this roster is if they build from within and they are truly a cohesive group inside that locker room. And if you're Nick Caserio or Culley at this point, how do you sell that message with your captain and your leader leading the charge for getting out the door? You can't have it both ways.
My reaction to this is, did the Texans do something to the NFL to piss them off? Because this is the worst of all worlds. What is the NFL waiting on exactly? They don't need criminal charges to take action.
This is what you're right. They don't. But I hesitate to say that they have to jump out and act against Watson, only because I don't agree totally with what Major League Baseball has done with Trevor Bauer.
No.
Which is put him on an exempt list, put him off to the side before anything. I mean, Bauer's also saying he's innocent. He's saying it was a mutual understanding.
He's got one incident as opposed to 23 accusers.
Right. And I'm not trying to say that I'm buying Watson's story either here. But here's what the NFL said. And we know that the NFL has been judge, jury, and executioner, even if the legal recourse in the legal process has not played itself out in past situations. I'm thinking Ben Roethlisberger, for instance. who had the issues off the field, was never convicted, settled one case out of court, and was suspended during the offseason going into the season. Ezekiel Elliott, another example of a player who's been suspended by the NFL. But here's what the NFL is saying. They're saying that the NFL has not been given access to talk to many of the plaintiffs who filed the lawsuits or to third parties who might have relevant information. The NFL has also not been given access to evidence that the police has gathered in their investigation. So they're admitting that they have nothing. They're just going by what the attorneys are saying, and the NFL is saying that's not enough to act on Watson at this point as camp begins. So what do you, if you're the Eagles have been rumored to want Watson, how do you trade for him? What value do you place on Watson? Because you pick up his contract. If he's on the commissioner's exempt list, he's paid, that's paid leave, so you owe him the money, and it's just, you don't know after this season when it actually gets settled in civil court if he's going to, if the NFL acts in 2022. They could. So how do you handle this if you're a team that wants Watson, or you're a team like the Texans who don't want Watson? Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time Outkick 360 goes live. We are live weekdays, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, right here across the Outkick network. And while you're at it, like this video and let us know what you think in the comments below.